Previously, due to God's mistake, a man is killed and reincarnated as a powerful summoner. He is so powerful, he has to hide his skills from others. He becomes an adventurer and quickly boosts his skills and rank. On his journey, he gathers strong followers as well. While on a quest, they get encountered by a group of bandits. Soon they find out that bandits cause a lot of trouble in the city they visited, so they go to their hideout to stop their illegal activities once and for all. Making swift progress through the hideout, Kelvin saves some slaves from abuse, among which were a mother, Ellie, and her young daughter, Ruka. Without wasting any time, they push through the hideout and take out all of the bandit leaders, including Kristoff. The four heroes Tuya, Miyabi, Nana, and Setsuna enter the bandits' hideout as well, but are surprised when there are no enemies to stand against them. Upon finding the slaves, they jump in to fight the slime that is with them, but Ruka stops them from doing so, explaining how another group of adventurers came here before them and left the slime as protection. Once the heroes identify themselves, she asks of them to hurry and assist the adventurers, since they went ahead to fight the bandit leaders. Wasting no time, the four heroes rush to the main chamber, where they find the bandit leaders laying around scattered and beaten. But they believe that those bandits are actually the adventurers that came before them, so they challenge Kelvin and his party, thinking that they are the bandits. Kelvin makes no effort to correct the misunderstanding, as he is looking forward to fight against the heroes and see how well they work together. To make that happen, he challenges them all by himself. Even with the 1-against-4 handicap, Kelvin is more than a match for them. Playing around with them and taunting them, he pushes them on the defense. Realizing that they will not make it if they do not work as a team, the heroes pull themselves together and combine their powers, trapping Kelvin. But even that is not enough, as he is able to break free from the trap and turn the tables on his own. Kelvin is having so much fun fighting them that he decides to give them tips on how to perform better in the midst of battle. Once he has had enough fun, Kelvin wipes them out, teaching them a valuable lesson. After the heroes regain their senses, they are shocked to learn the truth about Kelvin and his party. Tuya apologizes to Kelvin for the misunderstanding, wondering why he did not try to clear it up before they started fighting. But he quickly realizes that Kelvin was coaching them during the fight, so he starts respecting him as his new teacher. With the bandits captured and slaves freed, Kelvin takes it upon himself to train the four heroes, so they would be up to the task of fighting the Demon King. After the intense training is over, the heroes return onto their journey to fight the Demon King, grateful to Kelvin for everything he did for them. Hearing about the exploits of Kelvin and his group in her country, the ruler summons them to the castle. While introducing herself as Tsubaki, Kelvin notices that her demeanor and the design of the palace is very similar to those from Japan. Apparently, another person from Japan was summoned into this world at some point in the past, and they became the founder of this country. Tsubaki reveals that she knows that it is in fact Kelvin and his party who solved the issue with the bandits, so she offers to reward them. But instead of something extravagant or valuable, Kelvin requests to be allowed to purchase their unique product, a crop similar to rice. Amused by his requests, Tsubaki grants him as much of that crop as he desires. After securing the nostalgic food, Kelvin's group heads back to their town, and they are allowed to use a teleporter to get there quickly. Thanks to all the quests they have completed, Kelvin managed to save up enough money to buy a mansion for himself and his entire party. Finally having a proper place of their own, everyone starts settling into their new home. Since he will need people to look after the mansion when they go adventuring, Kelvin hires the mother and daughter pair they rescue from the bandits, Ellie and Ruka. Just as the day is coming to an end, Melfina returns from her little journey. Thanks to that, Kelvin is finally able to summon her, and he does so without wasting another moment. The next day, everyone is excited to meet Melfina for the first time in person. They figure that it could be problematic if she goes by her real name, since she's a well-known goddess, so they decide to call her Mel from here on out. In order to reward Kelvin for successfully summoning her, she grants him the grace of the goddess of reincarnation, which allows him to survive a fatal blow once per month, and it also grants him the ability to summon heroes. While Sarah and Mel are sparring in the basement, Kelvin is considering how he should use this new power of his. Wondering what the purpose of heroes actually is, he asks Mel about it once she finishes her match. She tells him about the fact that the Demon King is protected from all harm inflicted upon him by inhabitants of this world, so they need to summon people from another world in order to fight him. Kelvin is still worried about just pulling someone at random from their current life and throwing them into this world, so Mel suggests he can do a reincarnation summoning instead, just like what she did with him. Elaborating that he will have only one attempt at the summoning, so he should think carefully on what he wants to achieve with it. After giving it some thought, Kelvin decides to do the reincarnation summoning and summon a single person, pouring all of his magic into the spell. The summoning is a success and a young girl appears after a short delay. She is lost and confused as to what is going on, but as Kelvin begins explaining, she appears to be very excited about her current situation. Introducing herself as Rion, she is extremely grateful for being summoned, but before she can tell them more, both Rion and Kelvin collapse from the post-summoning exhaustion. Rion wakes up in the middle of the night, remembering how she passed on in the hospital back in our world, only to appear in this world. She runs out of the mansion and is yet again overwhelmed by joy. There she runs into Kelvin, and the two of them get to know each other better. He tells her that he was also reincarnated into this world and fills her in on everything that happened up until this point. Worried that she might be upset at him for dragging her into this world like that, she quickly dismisses his worries. Relieved, Kelvin suggests that she becomes his half-sister in order to avoid suspicion about her sudden appearance. Kelvin brings everyone into the nearby forest to train together and grow stronger. By using his experience sharing skill, even Ellie and Ruka are able to level up without having to fight any monsters. A shadow wolf happens to run in the direction of their camp, and Kelvin uses the chance to add him to his list of summons by overpowering him with magic. The same shadow wolf is given the name Alex and is assigned to be Rion's partner and protector. Everyone is having a lovely time living together at the mansion, until one day a band of assassins infiltrates the place. Kelvin and Sarah are quick to notice them thanks to their skills, and once Kelvin confirms that they are not particularly strong, he assigns Rion and Alex to take care of them, wanting to see how they perform in actual combat. The assassins are here to hunt down the adventurer responsible for capturing Kristoff, but once they are confronted by Rion, their plans go down the drain. As a hero, she is more than a match for them, and together with Alex, they quickly and efficiently take out the invaders. The leader of the assassin group realizes that his unit has failed, so he attempts to flee, but Kelvin prevents that from happening. At the same time in Trison, Emperor Zell has a meeting with his generals. Upset at the way their schemes in other countries fell apart, they are trying to decide on their next course of action. The generals are split between going to war or not, so to break the tie, they call for the absent 5th General Clive. Seemingly amused by the idea, it is clear that his vote will be to start the war. Kelvin and his party are rushing to provide aid to a village of elves in the country of Gon, worried about the movement of Trison's troops, as they have already engaged in a few skirmishes. It is Leo who sent them there with the opportunity to rank up to S rank if Kelvin proves capable enough during this quest. On their way, they get stopped by a band of elves, but upon hearing that they are the adventurers sent by the guild, the elves lead them to their village. However, the village elder appears shocked when he sees Eiffel, confusing her for another elf that he has known in the past. It turns out that Eiffel looks exactly like Lumel, an elven woman that has sacrificed herself to the Fire Dragon King in order to prevent his rampage. The dragon took her as his bride, and the two of them disappeared, but some years later, Lumel was found dead in the forest, so to avoid the dragon's wrath, they fled their forest and hid in Gon. Changing the topic to the recent skirmishes they had, it turns out that Trison is using mind-controlled monsters in their attacks, and when they come, they try to kidnap as many elves as possible. Hearing that, Kelvin's group is more determined than ever to provide their assistance. After setting up stronger magical defenses around their village, they get ready for Trison's next move. The attack comes under the cover of night, but Kelvin's group is ready and waiting, intercepting them on their way with Eiffel's extremely long-range magical arrows. With the soldiers confused and pushed back, Rion and Alex charge and start taking out as many of them as possible. Trison's commander summons a massive monster, a gigantic lord, to face her, so Rion and Alex have their first real challenge. Wanting to prove herself as a fully fledged adventurer, she gives it her all and battles the gigantic lord head-on. When the gigantic lord transforms into its ultimate form, it is still not enough to defeat the Rion and Alex duo. They keep going at it and bring the monster down without suffering a single scratch. While Mel is praising Rion for her good work, the village gets under attack from the sky. Kelvin manages to protect Eiffel just in time as Clive arrives accompanied by his magic knights. Suddenly, Clive declares that Eiffel is just his type, so he attempts to charm her. Kelvin disrupts his spell, enraged by Clive's attempt to take his woman. After scanning his abilities, it is clear to Kelvin that Clive is in fact reincarnated just as he was. Sending Eiffel to a safer location, Kelvin decides to face Clive and his unit head-on. It turns out that Clive is quite powerful, as Kelvin's attacks are unable to penetrate his magic defense. Seeing that makes Kelvin excited about the fight, but once Clive's magic knights attack him, he becomes disgusted by the fact that they are all mind-controlled with his charm magic. In order to not get interrupted by the magic knights, Kelvin summons a few golems to fight them, while he goes head-to-head with Clive. Soaring through the sky, the two reincarnated heroes blast each other with deadly spells. Clive attempts to convince Kelvin that this world is only to have fun in, and he, as a special hero, should just use his powers to do as he desires. Kelvin's bond with those close to him is too strong to be swayed by Clive's charming words, so he only becomes even more determined to bring him down. Finally getting through his barrier, Kelvin inflicts a wound on Clive's face, which sends him into a frenzy. Casting his ultimate magic, Clive is determined to destroy the entire village along with Kelvin. In response, Kelvin pulls out his brand new weapon, and infusing it with magic, he manifests a magical scythe, which slices through Clive's magic and Clive alike, severing his legs and canceling the spell at the same time. But before Kelvin can land the finishing blow, Clive is rescued by Tristan. Tristan is not looking for a fight at that moment, so he teleports with Clive to safety. The village and everyone else are unharmed, and with Tristan's forces defeated, the quest given to Kelvin is successfully completed. Back in Tristan, Clive gets his legs back thanks to Tristan's healing magic, but he is punished severely for his failure and imprisoned to be used as a torture experiment. The battle against Clive and meeting Tristan made Kelvin realize how important all his friends are to him, and he wants to get even stronger so he can make sure he will never lose them. While thinking about that, a memory from his past life stirs inside of him, a memory full of regret. But before he can remember anything else, Eiffel snaps him out of his thoughts. To add to their celebrations, Leonhardt, the king of Gone, in one of his many forms, appears before them. He declares that he has proven himself more than capable of becoming an S-rank adventurer. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.